And that's your hat, Jamal.
Oh, for the tomte.
Okay, tomte. Hello. So my friends, the tomte welcomes you all once again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And really, how excited it feels to be in person. It's been such a long time. I think, what is it, almost like 2 years? You know, the common joke is, we have lost these 2 years. We should ask God for a refund. But I think, if I just may say, the message is that God or Spirit or Divinity wants us to use this time, make up this time for us to be more loving, more compassionate, more giving, more forgiving. And I think one of the best ways today we can be loving and compassionate is really to honor what is happening and have everybody be masked, keep our distance, so we keep absolutely lovingly and compassionately safe. So before I introduce our wonderful musicians, just a few more chants. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Just the women, please. Just the men. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Family, all together. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Twice softly. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Twice aloud. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. And just becoming very still and allowing ourselves to truly be open to the glow of presence. Thank you so much. My dear friends, our friends Birgit and Phil, as you know, have always so graciously, generously given of themselves in service to Interfaith Community Sanctuary. Let's give them a hand.
Thank you, Jamal.
So thank you so much, and please.
So the first tune we're going to start out with is a very English tune. It's I saw three ships, and the chorus is on Christmas Day in the morning. It's only a week away, so let's pretend. Yeah.
Ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning. And what was in those ships? All three on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And what was in those ships? All three on Christmas Day in the morning. Our Savior and his lady on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Our Savior Christ and his lady on Christmas Day in the morning. Bethlehem on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day in the morning, and all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day, and all the bells on Christmas Day shall Christmas Day in the morning.
All right. Now it's a very, another English song, believe it or not. This is Silver Bells, very
That's American,
well-known
actually.
an American song composed by, do we know?
It's by Jay Livingston and Ray Evans.
And we have performed it at the Nordic Heritage Museum and when it was at the school in Ballard all the time for our Catrelli friends, Finnish folk dance friends. So feel free to sing along on any of these songs, know them or not.
City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, making smile after smile. On every street corner you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, ring-a-ling, soon it will be Christmas Day. City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, meeting smile after smile. On every street corner you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day.
So another tradition, and this is a very famous Swedish tradition, is they have said the girls, the oldest daughter, I think, and I should read up on this more, but they bake Christmas cookies and Santa Lucia buns, and then they walk with a candle. I saw it at the Swedish Club the other day with candles on their head, a ring of candles, and they present the cookies to everybody in the family. Lee, you can correct me on that if you need to. So this is an Italian song done to a Swedish, very Swedish tradition.
Sul mar le luce la strada d'argento, la sede l'onda sul mare l'oceano, l'astro d'argento, glosse nell'onda, prospera vento, vieni la grande barchetta mia, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia, vieni la grande barchetta mia, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia.
Thank you. Thank you. So when I first came to Interfaith, there was Dale Blindheim and Jana Winiko. Anybody remember who they are? And they introduced us to the church, and one of the first events was a holiday program. Jana used to do a holiday program all the time, Christmas program. And I remember Jamal doing the tomte, so I've asked him to do the tomte again today, and he thankfully agreed. So that's in the tradition of the Scandinavian. They have Nissen and Tomte in Germany. They have Wichtele in Holland. They have Gebouter. So you have these other gnomes. They're all they come in and with good and with bad, but this is a good spirit. And they have in Scandinavia, Sweden, and Norway, you have to be nice to the tomte, or they will, or the nissen, or they will wreak havoc on your farm, and nothing works properly. So they have a rice pudding and I think lingonberry jam or some kind of red little topping on it, and it's very delicious.
It's like an insurance policy.
Yeah. So yeah, it talks about celebration. Let's toast and
Yeah.
slow your glass. And how do you translate that in English?
No, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Put a cheer on everybody.
Hej tomte gode slå i glaset, låt oss lustiga fara. Hej tomte gode slå i glaset, låt oss lustiga fara. En liten tid träffar till här, en mycket värde stoppes väl. Hej tomte gode slå i glaset, låt oss lustiga fara. Hey, jolly gnomes, fill the glasses, we'll be merry together. Hey, jolly gnomes, fill the glasses, we'll be merry together. As time is breathed upon the earth, with troubles many and little mirth. Hey, jolly gnomes, fill your glasses, we'll be merry together.
So we have one more tune planned, but we have lots more tunes in our repertoire. How much time do we have left? Yeah, so Silent Night is at the end. You guys are ready for Silent Night? Okay. So this was composed in Austria. I don't have it in here.
Okay, and let's do something else.
No, you don't have it.
I don't have it then. Sorry.
Okay. I got it memorized, but the words, you guys know the words, right? Philip.
Okay.
Whatever language you know. In English. That should be it, right, Philip?
Yeah.
No.
Unless- One more.
What's that?
One more tune.
So one of the first English notes, how about we play something like Jingle Bells?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to become Wassling.
Okay. Settlers.
This is another English tune. It's Here Become a Wassling Among the Leaves of Green. Probably predates. What are they? Tudes. It's an English custom, going door to door, greeting your neighbors. Here we come, us wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come, a wandering so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you a wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year. Come a wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come a wandering the fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you a wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year.
Okay, we better quit while we're ahead. Yes, they're not Christmas CDs, but that'll be next year. I promise. Scandinavian and international and German.
So you have to, for safety.
Yes, the for sale. We'll donate some proceeds to the church too. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Once again for your gracious offering.
Been wanting to have this happen for a long time.
We're delighted to have you.
Shall we move these out of the way? Okay.
You can just sit on Birgit. Offer should be nice.
Okay.
And then whenever you're ready, Brother George, it's time for your poetry.
Me?
Yes. Yeah, let's wait till they get up. Listen.
This is not rehearsed yet. But I do have one. Rehearsal is for amateurs. We have a lot more faith in you.
You think we rehearsed this or something, right?
You want a mic, Brother George? No, you can sit. You can sit here.
I can just bellow.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
I can leave my mantle halfway.
I just tiptoe around everything here.
I got it.
This chair back. Oh, I see. Okay. Is this close enough?
I have no idea. Does it sound right? Wow, talk about being put on the spot here. Okay, that's all right. We're gonna do this. So I thought today, because many of us at this time of year keep thinking the days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and it can get you kind of down unless you keep the faith and realize that if you're patient enough and you hang in there, things turn around. So with that thought in mind, I was talking to my spiritual companion, Meister Eckhart. He and I converse on a regular basis. I don't know if you all know Meister Eckhart, a Middle Ages mystic theologian. But he writes a couple of poems. He's not known for his poetry, but he's actually written a couple of poems. And so today I'm going to share one with you. And it's called When I Was the Forest. When I was the stream, when I was the forest, when I was still the field, when I was every hoof, foot, fin and wing, when I was the sky itself. No one ever asked me, did I have a purpose? No one ever wondered, was there anything I might need? For there was nothing I could not love. It was when I left all one, that the agony began. The fear and the questions came, and I wept, and I wept. Tears I had never known before. So I returned to the river. I returned to the mountains. I asked for their hand in marriage again. I begged to wed every object and creature. And when they accepted, God was ever present in my arms. And did he say, where have you been? For then I knew my soul, every soul, has always held him. I didn't write that.
Thank you so much for the beautiful rendition. Sister Cynthia's not here. Then her time is yours.
So I hope that. So I hope you enjoy this poem as much as I did. A friend of ours, Khalid, Paul Kramer, read this at an event that I was at. My brain and my heart divorced a decade ago. Who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become? Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on the weekend. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week. And their notes say, send to one another always says the same thing. The note they send to one another always says the same thing. This is your fault. On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesday, my head lists all of the times my heart has screwed things up for me. In the future, they blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights, I sneak out of the window by my rib cage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair. It's always open for me. And I just sit, until the sun comes up. Last night, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my heart and my head. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, and my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow. I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with the mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future. I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focused on a uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There is no tomorrow there either. There is only now. There is only inhale. There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves, predicting the future, and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and I walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?"
I'm gonna get. That's right, I got one. So our sister Ondine could not be here today. I'm hoping she's live streaming. And she sent me this poem and asked that I read it to you. This is a poem that was sent to her, and it's a poem by Fra Giovanni, written in 1513. So we're really doing the Middle Ages today in some respects. I salute you. There is nothing I can give you which you have not, but there is much that, while I cannot give you, you can take. No heaven can come to us unless our hearts find rest in it today. Take heaven. No peace lies in the future, which is not hidden in this present instant. Take peace. The gloom of the world is but a shadow behind it, yet within our reach is joy. Take joy. And so at this Christmas time, I greet you with the prayer that for you, now and forever, the day breaks and the shadows flee away.
My dear friends, before we pass on to the next person, we have to celebrate the fact that in our midst we have wonderful renditions of poetry, and we have poets and poetess in our midst, Brother George, Sir Karen, and Sister Sally George channeling Ondine. Let's give them a wonderful name. And now it's Sally George's turn.
Okay, so for one of my offerings is to play a Christmas carol on the piano, and you have the words to it. I think we had that beautiful, joyous welcoming and opening with the carols with Phil and Birgit, and now, I think George kind of introduced us to a little bit more of the serious side of the holiday celebration. And so when I was planning my program, it had been raining for 3 or 4 days straight. It was cloudy, it was cold. The days were getting shorter and shorter and darker. And so I must admit that was part of what inspired me in my plan. And then when I woke up this morning and saw this brilliant sunshine and this beautiful day, and I thought, gosh, I'm going to bring everybody down with this. But no, it's okay because it's all part of right now, right? And we're not going to be down. We're just going to be, I think, contemplative for a moment. This is a song, "Lo How a Rose Ere Blooming." It's one of my favorites, and it beautifies and glorifies the Virgin Mary and her child Jesus, and the birth. Since Christmas is one of the holidays we're celebrating today. It's the birth of Jesus that came forth through the Mother Mary. And I think I have 2 verses down there for you. I'll play through 2 verses, and I'll just give it a little warm up here. I think because the sun is quickly going down, I'm going to just put my light on in case it starts to get a little bit. Now, I'm going to count on you guys to do the singing, and I'll play the music for you. But let me give you a little intro. Oh, I need my cushion back. So. All right. So if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, I wanted to talk a little bit about this theme of Mary. You want it closer? Okay. My own exploration of these themes of interrelationship in religious ideas started when I was a teenager. I was about 16 or 17, and there were 2 books that I studied a lot as a teenager, and one of them was called The Variety of Religious Experiences by William James. It was a very well-known book. William James was a very famous philosopher and psychologist, and he wrote a very learned book about religion. And I also read a wonderful book called The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley. And I didn't just read these books. I really studied them a lot because they had some deep ideas, and to me, it was my first introduction to the fact that you could look at religion and philosophy and spirituality as one big topic, and all these religious sects were just part of this bigger picture of religion and philosophy and mystical experience and that kind of thing. So recently, I've been studying the Quran, both in Arabic and English, and I've been struck by how much Jesus and Mary, how both Jesus and Mary are represented in the Quran. And I think that a lot of non-Muslims have no idea. Even I've met some Muslims who had no idea how highly revered both Jesus and Mary are in the Islamic tradition. And Jesus, as some of you do know, Jesus is mentioned as, Jesus is considered a prophet, one of many, many hundreds of prophets that are either mentioned by name or mentioned indirectly in the Quran. Jesus is mentioned by name 25 times, and he's referred to in the second and third person, and in various prayers 187 times in the Quran. And in 93 different verses out of the 114 in the Quran, Jesus is mentioned mentioned in his prophetic role. Mary is mentioned 70 times in the Quran by name, and she has a whole surah named after her. And that surah talks a lot about her life, how she grew up as a child, how she would worship in the temple, and God would bring her food when she didn't have other things to eat, and how her father, Zachariah, was so, enchanted by how devoted she was even as a young girl. So Mary's whole story is in the Quran. But there's a particular, of course, what I'm most interested in today is the birth of Jesus. And by the way, when Jesus is mentioned, the 25 times Isa, or Jesus, is mentioned in the Quran, at least 23 of them, from my count, I could only find 2 places where he's not referred to as Isa ibn Maryam, or Jesus, son of Mary. He's almost always referred to as Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, son of Mary. And to me, that has a deep significance, because Jesus could not have existed without Mary, right? Nor could any of us have existed without our mother. Nor can we human beings exist without our Mother Earth. So these are very, very deep and touching ideas. And so I want to read a little bit, if you don't mind. I'm going to read in English the surah from Surah 19. Let me get this. From the surah on Mary, the part about Jesus' birth. And actually, and by the way, the conception of Jesus is described in the Quran very similarly to how it's described in the Holy Bible as well, in the Christian Bible, in that Mary is visited by an angel whom she thinks is a man, because he comes in the form of a man, and she says, she kind of pushes him in the way and says, "I seek refuge in God. Do not come near me if you fear God," because she's afraid he's just some strange man. And then he says he's an angel, a messenger from the Lord, to announce the gift of a holy son. And she says, "How shall I have a son, seeing that no man hath touched me, and I am not unchaste?" And he said, "So it will be, thy Lord saith, that is easy for me. And we wish to appoint him, your son, as a sign unto men, and a mercy for us. And a mercy from us," with capital us. "It is a matter so decreed." So she conceived him, and she retired with him to a remote place. Now passes the 9 months of pregnancy, and we jump ahead. "And the pains of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried in her anguish, 'Ah, would that I had died before this. Would that I had been a thing forgotten and out of sight.'" Now I'm going to pause here a moment, because this is the moment in the verse which I think is like the moment we're in right now as a part of Advent. Well, we're waiting for Jesus' birth, right? And the birth pangs are pretty intense. And the mother says, "Why did I go through all this? What am I doing here? What is it all for?"
The nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter, it's getting colder, my pain is increasing. Would that I have just died before all this happened, and would that I would be forgotten and out of sight. Verse 24, but a voice cried to her from beneath the palm tree, grieve not, for thy Lord hath provided a rivulet beneath thee, and shake towards thyself the trunk of the palm tree. It will let fall fresh, ripe dates upon thee. The voice is still talking. So eat and drink and cool thine eye, and if thou dost see any man, say, I have vowed a fast to Allah most gracious, and this day will I enter into no talk with any human being. It goes on then to describe how Mary goes through her childbirth. She gets taken care of with the water and the fruit, and this mysterious voice who's consoling her. And at length she brings the babe back to the people, back to her town and her family. And she's carrying him in her arms, and they're shocked. They say, oh, Mary, truly an amazing thing hast thou brought. And, O sister of Aaron, thy father was not a man of evil, nor thy mother a woman unchaste. So naturally, they think she's born a child out of wedlock and that she is now a condemned person. But she pointed to the babe, like she just went like that to her baby. And the babe and the people said, now I'll read again. She pointed to the babe. They said, how can we talk to a one who is a child in the cradle? He said, Jesus said, the baby said, I am indeed a servant of Allah. He hath given me revelation and made me a prophet. And he hath made me blessed wheresoever I be, and hath enjoined on me prayer and charity as long as I live. He hath made me kind to my mother, and not overbearing or miserable. So peace is on me the day I was born, the day that I die, and the day that I shall be raised up to life again. Such was Jesus, the Son of Mary. It is a statement of truth, about which they vainly dispute. I love those passages and how they tell the story, that I think you can see some of the similarities with the Christian story and some of the differences. And if we are talking about, as Karen's poem was talking about, the mind and the heart, in my opinion, the heart of this story is very, very close to the heart of any story that we might read about Mary in the Christian tradition. And I know that in this particular congregation in particular, we honor Mary so highly as part of our divine feminine practice. And as Jamal is always reminding us, this story of the birth of Jesus, it can be taken on a literal level, it can be taken on an historic level, or it could be taken on a symbolic or metaphorical level. And he always reminds us that we really are we all embody Mary and the womb of Mary within ourselves. And our job, one of our primary goals or jobs on earth, is to give birth to our inner Jesus, the Jesus within us, the Christ within us, that is the Spirit that Jesus brought. And by the way, Jesus is called Spirit of God, Ruh Allah, in the Quran, which means Spirit of God. And it is Jesus' Spirit, Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, son of Mary, whose Spirit we have to birth ourselves. And yes, as George reminded us, we will go through some pain, particularly before the birth actually happens, and maybe some pain afterwards when people don't understand what we have just birthed, and they think we're somehow evil or unchaste or something else. But we must have faith that this is a task we've been given, and we've also been given the resources to have it happen with good health and good cheer. So that's my little talk.
Sally Jo, thank you so much for the music of the piano, and I would say for me, particularly music of the heart. Let's give another hand. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who really has been an integral part of our community, and I mean this ever since my hair was black, for decades. Sisters Swinkley Laurel Boucher, who really is a pillar of our community. She will share a First Peoples teaching song. Sister Swinkley.
I'm so pleased to be here. Let's see. Well, I need a mic. Let's see. I'm going to stand, so I'll just. Thank you. Haichka. I'm so pleased to be here with each and every one, and for all the wonderful presentations before. Oh my goodness, what a talented and loving community to be in. And it's truly a pleasure and a joy to be with you today. My name, Swin Clay, comes from Quemas Island of the San Juan Islands. The translation is Receiving Directly Grandmothers in the Sasiwas or Samish language. And my English name, Laurel Boucher. I'm actually from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And we'd always been rumored in our family that, oh yeah, we're Indian, we're Indian, but nobody ever said who, what, where, when, anything. And it's only been in recent years that actually through a mutual friend, she made the connection of the last name Boucher, which sounds very French. It is a French name. And with myself and a friend, and the friend of hers is Henry Boucher. And she went to Henry and she said, Henry, is there any chance that you're related to this, my friend Laurel Boucher? She comes from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. He said, oh my gosh, she's my cousin. And we had never met or anything. And Henry is quite the celebrity in the ice hockey world. He had been an ice hockey star and won medals in the Olympics. And but one of the reasons that was so hard to make the connection is the spelling. Henry's root of the family, they had stretched out to Minnesota and had changed the spelling of the name and kept the Ojibwe kind of pronunciation. So they just, the name ends in ER in the French way, and they changed it to A as it sounds, Boucher, and then it also is Ojibwe. So that's how they thought about it, and they changed the name to the spelling. And so it's only been in recent years that we were able to connect and find out indeed we share the same great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and our great-grandfathers are brothers. And so I'm just wanted to bring that out here in the community because there's been some question about my leading the medicine circle. And what people don't know, though, with the Sasiwas Medicine Circle, it's not required that you be an indigenous person to learn and to share in the practices and the teachings and the songs and the stories that we learn in the Sasiwas medicine tradition. So, but anyway, there's been some question, and so it's been quite a journey, my brothers and sisters. And I still have my whole family has a long way to go because we only know that much about our great-grandfathers, both being from the same family. And it's also just a thing of interest and something at least that we can expound on or explore on is that there are great-grandparents. They had so many children that they started their own village, Ojibwe village, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And my great-great-grandfather, William Boucher, he went to Ulysses S. Grant, who was president at the time, and asked him if he would give them, the family, a parcel of land there at the site where the village had become Boucherville. It actually became Boucherville with all the children. And so the president gave that parcel of land, and shortly after that, Boucherville turned into Nabinwe, which is in the Ojibwe language, means place of echoes. And so there, we grew up, my family, and maybe 2-hour drive from that village where our family was from, and we were never told, never knew a thing about it. And it was kept that strongly a secret, and from us the truth about family and our origins. And so here I am, a young elder, and finding this out for the first time. And my family members are just blown away. My brother, when I let him know about it, he went right down there and he took pictures. there is acknowledgement of our great-grandfather on a placard there. He was known for his fisheries in the Great Lakes. So anyway, I'm looking forward to possibly meeting my cousin Henry. Because we now have a ice hockey team here, the Kraken, here in the Seattle, he more than likely will come here, as he's very avid in encouraging the young hockey players, and just avid in supporting hockey. And just a wonderful person. I've talked to him many times, and I'm just so happy to have made that connection. And the person, Sister Pat Housett, she has been here also to this church, and she connected our Sister Gretchen's father that came from Africa to Sisters of Providence. So it's just amazing how many different connections. And through this church here, through this sanctuary here, the ICS, and how many connections we make. And I'm so grateful too to have learned all the many things I learned already today through all the presentations. What a wonderful thing and a joy. And but before I go any further, we usually always open before all of that with a welcome song. So I'd like to sing this welcome song. And you're sure welcome to, during the song, this is our sign language for welcome. You're sure welcome to just welcome. You're welcoming one another, and also welcoming the Spirit, because, oh my goodness, with all that's been brought out from the Middle Ages and so on and so forth, we've called a lot of ancestors here now. So we want to let them know we respect them, we welcome them. Oh, 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 oh. Welcome, everyone. So thankful to be here. Welcome to the Spirit, and to I wanted to just say that such a beautiful thing, the acknowledgement of the Christmas time and what the true meaning is. And, for our first people here in the Coast Salish, also was adopted into a family at Tulalip. And that was like a life-saving experience, in that then I was welcome to immerse myself in the culture and teaching from this area of the Coast Salish people. And so I'm very, had quite an opportunity to have many, many teachers and opportunity for travel and to learn. But so here in the Northwest Coast or Coast Salish area, there's a belief in one God. Not in some traditions, there's deities and different worship. Most tribes on the Turtle Island, this place here, what we call Turtle Island or the United States of America, is all the tribes here really believed in one God. And a lot of people, they're happy to believe in Jesus and also Christmas time. But here in the Northwest Coast, before more people came to this area from other places, there was a high ceremonial time in the winter. Patus is the winter time, and that's a very high ceremonial time. And it wasn't because of the beliefs that came after. It was because for our people, the belief is that the powers that be, the different powers of and spirits, you could say, of the nature spirits, they moved around in the winter time. All the other seasons, they stayed in their home place where they live most of the year. But in the winter time, just because of the season, they are able to move. So the mountain powers, the mountain spirits, they come down from the mountains, and that's why they say, that's why we have the snow, because the mountain spirit comes down to visit, and they bring us the snow. And the different winter spirits and wintertime happenings. So that's why in the wintertime it's really thought of as a very spiritual time, and even people can receive the help of a winter movement of a spirit, and that spirit actually might come to a person, and then that person may receive a song and a dance that they will then share with the community in order to bring healing or help of some kind to the community through that spiritual help. It's called scalalitude or spirit helper, spirit dancer, lots of different names. And it has become like a closed type ceremony and event in the wintertime because a lot of people didn't understand. And then of course there was the long period of time where it was against the law for our people to practice any of the spiritual belief and religious or spiritual practices, even sing songs or even have a drum or any of that. Thank goodness those times are in the past, and pray that they'll stay in the past and that people will always be open to practice what they believe in their spiritual faith and religions. And so that's such an honor to be here with each one, and we have this freedom to practice and to share from different spiritual and religious practices with one another. And I learned so much by being here, and I always do, and it's one of the reasons that we're so happy to be a part of this community, is because we always learn some more with all of you, and we're so pleased and happy. The old people, they say, you never grow old if you will never grow old if you keep on learning. So never stop learning. Keep you young, youthful, and just to enrich our lives. Masi. I'd like to share with you this story, and it's a wonderful story, and it is a story that talks about many things. It takes place a long time ago. Our people, we believe that there's different worlds that took place. That's what we call it, the different stages, the Ice Age, the Great Floods. There's many different stories that were kept going through people doing what they could to keep the oral tradition alive. And so they would hide and they would share, many of our ways to keep the stories and the different things alive, because we didn't write anything down. It all comes from an oral tradition. So when we were unable to even speak our language or do anything to keep our culture alive, because the government wanted us to kill the Indian and save the man, was the saying of the person who created the Carlisle boarding school governor. And so that there was a lot that happened, a lot of very sorrowful things that took place. But that is, again, something that we are going to continue to heal from. But so we believe in the stories and how we kept things alive, no matter what was taking place. We believed long time ago that the mountains were the people. And then a long, long time ago, so this marks the different worlds that took place. The trees thought they were the people. A long time ago, the animals thought they were the people. And someday they will say, a long time ago, the human beings thought they were the people. Oh. So that wasn't the story I was going to tell, but it wanted to come out. It wanted you to understand that's how we think in the different worlds, that our communications, the mountains were the people, they were the communicators, they were the ones, and all the way now to the human beings, where now we're the ones, and are we going to survive? But I'd like to tell you the story of the grandma cedar tree. And if you're listening to the story, we'll share it in with some Lushootseed language. Lushootseed language is the first language spoken here on the land of the Duwamish, or the Duwapsh. That's the traditional, in the Lushootseed, Duwapsh is the place. This is the homeland of our brothers and sisters of the Duwapsh, or the Duwamish people, and Lushootseed speaking people. So Al Tootie Tuhawk, a long time ago, there lived Grandma Cedar Tree. She's, oh my goodness, she's very old now, Grandma Cedar Tree. Kaya Hapayats in the Lushootseed language, which means Grandma Cedar Tree. If you're listening to the story, if you could say Habu, which is in the Lushootseed language. Habu. And there, Grandma Cedar Tree, she was so sad and so lonely now, just standing there all by herself, it seemed. Oh boy, she was just so sad and lonely. She was crying tears of sorrow and praying to the Creator about what she was feeling and how she was feeling. And the Creator, Si Seltsiam Akwichachabad in the Lushootseed language, heard the Grandma Cedar Tree's cry in prayer, and the Creator, Si Seltsiam Akwichachabad, sent a baby cedar tree seed out on the south wind, and there that baby cedar tree seed was landed and seeded right near the Grandma Cedar Tree. And there the baby cedar tree grew, and oh, Grandma Cedar Tree, now that sorrow that she was feeling and that loneliness went away. And there the grandson cedar tree would grow and grow, and there the deer, they would come and they'd want to nibble on the baby cedar tree's new branches and feed themselves that way. And the Grandma Cedar Tree, the Kaya, she would wave her arms, her branches back and forth, and scare the deer away. And there the north wind would come in the wintertime, and it would threaten to bend and break the baby cedar tree. So the grandma, Kaya, she would wrap her branches, her arms around the baby cedar tree and protect the baby cedar tree from the north wind. And there, in the summertime, there the sun would come, and sometimes it'd be so hot and burn, and it would be threatened to burn the skin, the bark of the baby cedar tree. So Grandma Cedar Tree, she would take her strong arms and she would put them over the baby cedar tree and create shade so that they'll be protected from the hot sun. And there sometimes the baby cedar tree would feel so sad and lonely too, and would just feel so sad. And the Grandma Cedar Tree, the Kaya, she would call to the birds out in the forest, the birds of many kind, and they would come and they would land on the strong arms of the Grandma Cedar Tree, and they'd sing beautiful songs and carry the baby cedar tree's sorrow away. And there, each time the Grandma Cedar Tree would protect her baby cedar tree, that baby cedar tree would grow some more. It would just every time keep growing and growing. Now, years later, that baby cedar tree was tall cedar tree, big and strong, tall, beautiful cedar tree. And there, now Grandma's getting very old and very tired. And she just felt like giving up. And the grandson cedar tree, he could feel the Grandma's sorrow and loneliness and her feeling of wanting to give up. And the grandson said to his grandma, Kaya, Grandma, did you not chase the deer away when they would threaten to come and eat my new branches? Now, Kaya, Grandma, I will chase the deer away when they come to eat on your new branches. Kaya, Grandma, when the north wind came and threatened to bend and break me as a young cedar tree, you put your strong arms around me and protected me from that strong north wind. Grandma, now I will put my strong arms around you when the north wind comes and threatens to make you bend or break. And Grandma, when I was so young and the strong sun would come and you would put your arms over me and create shade and keep me protected from the strong rays of the sun. Now, Grandma, when the strong sun comes and threatens to burn your skin, I will put my strong arms over you and create shade to protect you from the strong rays of the sun. And Grandma, when I felt sad and lonely, you called out to the birds of many kinds, and they landed on your strong arms and sang beautiful songs to carry my sadness and loneliness away. Now, Grandma, Kaya, when you feel sad and lonely, I will call to the many birds of many kinds, and they can land on my strong arms and sing beautiful songs to carry your loneliness and sadness away. Grandma, Kaya, you took care of me. Now I will take care of you. Dis hoist, that's all there is to that story. Thank you, Heichka. Da hadoopsh.
That's a wonderful hand. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Swinkley, Laurel Boucher, for gracing us with your presence, not just today, but for at least 2 decades. You know, I and Reverend Karen Lindquist have been here from the beginning, but there's one couple here who has been longer than us. That's Chris and Lila. They were not married at that time. This beautiful couple. Let's give them a wonderful hand. Sister Laurel Boucher, you had mentioned that, in this wonderful place, most of the seats are filled up here. Not only are the people here, there are wonderful, invisible, sacred beings also present. This today is a very crowded place. So in this crowded place, I'm going to ask now for Brother Michael, Reverend Michael, and his son Ezekiel, who are also such wonderful pillars of the community, to come forward and sing a traditional song. By the way, Ezekiel, how old are you now, Ezekiel? 21? My goodness. We have known him since he was very small, running around bare feet in the sanctuary and climbing that tree. Let's give them another hand.
I'll take this one, it's close. All right. This is going to be one of a series of songs. A pair of songs. That's a short series. And this will be... Well, it's appropriate that Wassling was brought up earlier because this is sort of in the Welsh tradition of wassailing. Which is like wassailing most other places. You go around to your neighbors' houses and you sing songs to them and ask them to provide you with libations. And in this case, you do so, well, one member of your group is wearing the skull of a horse. Nobody's quite sure why you do it wearing the skull of a horse. But it seems to date back to the Welsh New Year's traditions and to some amount of sacrifice of a horse and the preservation of its head. So this is the Mary Lwyd song. Wel dyma ni'n diwad gifellon dyn niwad I ofyn cion gynnar I ofyn cion gynnar I ofyn cion gynnar I ganu. Os na chawn ni gannar roch glewad ar ganiad, pa fodd ma'r madawiad, pa fodd ma'r madawiad, pa fodd ma'r madawiad nos enw. Nid o'r son ein crympa wrth grosi'r stic illa iddo fod tag yma, iddo fod tag yma, iddo fod tag yma nos enw. Os yn addinion achdor I anglinion, rowch glywad an union, rowch glywad an union, rowch glywad an union nos enw. Os ethoch rhaid gynnar i'r gwelyn ddiagar, o codwch yn nawddgar, o codwch yn nawddgar, o codwch yn nawddgar nos enw. Adyr sian fras felys a phob sort o species, o torwch i'n ratis, o torwch i'n ratis, o torwch i'n ratis a gwyla. O tapwch a baril, a chengwch an rigil, nar anwch an ganil, nar anwch an ganil, nar anwch an ganil a gwyla. Shall I introduce the next one then? Oh, here we go.
So, this is, as Ezekiel pointed out, these are remnants of a tradition that that was encouraged to be no longer, and we've been bringing up the medieval times quite a bit. So we're going to sing a song from the medieval times. This was the first published Christmas carol in the English language. Hi. Didn't see you come in. This was the first published Christmas carol in the English language. It's got very little to do with Christmas and a whole lot to do with sacrificing a wild boar at the solstice. And it's a sing-along. In Latin. Caput means head. Caput opri, the head of the boar, defero, I bring. Redens laudens, giving praise, Domino, to the Lord. The boar's head in hand bear I, wreathed with bay and rosemary. So I beg you, my masters, merry be, quod estis in convivio.
Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino. Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino.
The boar's head, so I understand, is the finest dish in all the land. Wreathed about with a gay garland, let us servire cantico. Ha!
Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino. Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino.
Our steward hath provided this.
In honor of the Queen of Bliss.
And on this day it served is in reginensi atrio. Hey!
Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino. Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino. Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino. Caput opri de ferro, redans laudes Domino.
So, my dear friend, we can never say there's a shortage of exotic talent in ICS. Let's give them another hand. So, my dear friends, before a closing ritual by Reverend Karen Lindquist, this is the time now for anybody else, if you want to share your talent. Yes, please.
It's not my talent unless finding and remembering it, where to find it, which took me a while. This is a poem that reminds me of this season because there's so much kindness in this season. I think we're reminded of that. So it's called Small Kindnesses by Danusha Lamaris. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by. Or how strangers still say, "bless you," when someone sneezes. a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire, only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat.
Thank you so much. Brother Chris.
Good afternoon, everyone here, and to all the folks at home. As I sat down and was hearing the beautiful art that was portrayed here, a voice from the past called out to me. His name is Czesław Miłosz. Miłosz was a Nobel Prize-winning poet and the part of a literary family. His dad was also a writer and artist. And I wanted to share a couple poems of him because I was glad to be able to see him read back when I was in college in the 80s. This first one is called Incantation. Human reason is beautiful and invincible. No bars, no barbed wire, no pulping of books. No sentence of banishment can prevail against it. It establishes the universal ideas and language and guides our hand so that we write truth and justice with capital letters and lie and oppression with small. It puts what should be above things as they are, is an enemy of despair and a friend of hope. It does not know Jew from Greek or slave from master. Giving us the estate of the world to manage, it saves austere and transparent phrases from the filthy discord of tortured words. It says that everything is new under the sun, opens the congealed fist of the past. Beautiful and young are Philo, Sophia, and poetry, her ally in the service of the good. As late as yesterday, nature celebrated their birth. The news was brought to the mountains by a unicorn and an echo. Their friendship will be glorious, their time has no limit. Their enemies have delivered themselves to destruction. And then I wanted to read one more in light of our approaching winter season. And like my sister Janine, I'm looking to remember it and find it on my phone. Let's see, it was winter, here we go. Okay, now get out of that. All right, it was winter. Winter came as it does in this valley. After 8 dry months, rain fell, and the mountains, straw-colored, turned green for a while. In the canyons where gray laurels grafted their stony roots to granite. Streams must have filled the dried-up creek beds. Ocean winds churned the eucalyptus trees, and under the clouds torn by a crystal of towers, prickly lights were glowing on the docks. This is not a place where you sit under a cafe awning on a marble piazza, watching the crowd, or play the flute at a window over a narrow street, while children's sandals clatter in the vaulted entryway. They heard of a land, empty and vast, bordered by mountains, so they went, leaving behind crosses of thorny wood and traces of campfires. As it happened, they spent winter in the snow of a mountain pass, and drew lots and boiled the bones of their companions. And so afterward, a hot valley where indigo could be grown seemed beautiful to them, and beyond, where fog heaved into shoreline coves, the ocean labored. Sleep, rock, and capes will lie down inside of you. War councils of motionless animals in a barren place, basilicas of reptiles of frothy whiteness. Sleep on your coat while your horse nibbles grass and an eagle gauges a precipice. When you wake up, you will have the parts of the world, west, an empty conch of water and air, east, always behind you, the voided memory of snow-covered fur, and extending from your outspread arms, nothing but bronze, grasses north and south. We are poor people, much afflicted. We camped under various stars where you dip water with a cup from a muddy river and slice your bread with a pocket knife. This is the place, accepted, not chosen. We remembered that there were streets and houses where we came from, so there had to be houses here, a saddler's signboard, a small veranda with a chair, but empty, a country where the thunder beneath the rippled skin of the earth, the breaking waves, a patrol of pelicans, nullified us, as if our vases, brought here from another shore, were the dug-up spearheads of some lost tribe who fed on lizards and acorn flour. And here I am walking the eternal earth, tiny, leaning on a stick. I pass a volcanic park, lie down at a spring, not knowing how to express what is always and everywhere. The earth I cling to is so solid under my breast and belly that I feel grateful for every pebble, and I don't know whether it is my pulse or the earth's that I hear. When the hems of invisible silk vestments pass over me, hands, wherever they've been, touch my arm, or small laughter, once, long ago over wine, with lanterns in the magnolias, for my house is huge. Blessed be.
Thank you so much, Brother Chris, and of course, Sister Janine, from so beautifully reading from these, what I call sacred tablets. It always amazes me when I go do some weddings and the couple are reading the vows. I expect them to take out a piece of paper, but they take out their iPads and read the vows. Anybody else wants to make an offering? Otherwise, let's give a wonderful hand to Reverend Karen Lindquist, who is co-founder, senior minister of Interfaith Community Sanctuary.
So I'm going to need some help here for the microphone. Also, I'll be inviting someone to light the candles on the altar in a few minutes. And we're going to begin with these lights off. I'm so delighted the sun is out. Okay. And the sun disappeared. All right. Yes. What power we have. So it is not yet solstice, but we are coming up to the shortest day of the year. And we're going to light candles as part of this gathering. And Michael, I don't know if it's possible, but I would like some incense on the front porch or the side porch, whichever you choose, if that's possible. So, as the wheel turns once more, we know that the sun will begin its journey back to us. But we are a few days early. And with the sun returning, new life begins. It's a blessing from earth to her children. So we light the first candle. So begin to think about where you are in relation to the year and how you're dealing with the cold, how you're dealing with the darkness. I have found it a little bit troubling. This is also the season of the winter goddess. And today we begin to celebrate the festival of the winter solstice, the rebirth of the sun, and the return of the light to the earth, which begins in a few days. Actually, it's only 2 days from now, I believe. And this is an eternal cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. And now, would someone come and light these candles, and someone else light the candles on the altar? Thank you. Here's the box. Start with the altar, please. Yes, thank you so much. And George, would you light the Divine Feminine candles? Oh, I'm blowing it out. Oh, yes. Oh. We do have, usually we have. Okay. So one of the things we talked about, Laurel shared with us, Sassoon Clay, about the trees. I'm going to invite all of you to stand and face through one of these beautiful windows the trees that you can see. And raise your arms to the tree. And say these words, or listen to these words, and feel it within your being. I am the vessel from which all things spring forth. Honor me from within your heart. Remember that acts of love and pleasure are my rituals, and that there is beauty in all things. Honor me on this night of the full moon. I have been with you since the moment you were created, and shall remain with you always. Let there be beauty and strength, wisdom and honor, humility and courage within you. If you need me, call upon me, and I shall come to you. Of course, it is not Karen who is speaking, it is the winter goddess. Honor me as you seek knowledge. I am the maiden, the mother, and the crone, and I live in you. So bring your arms now to your heart and look to the earth. I look down upon the sands of the desert. I crush the tides upon the shore. I shine on the mighty trees of the forest and watch with joy as life continues through every cycle. Be true to me. Again, this is the winter goddess, honoring that which I have created, and I shall be true to you in return, with harm to none, so it shall be. So take a few moments to drink in the earth, drink in the spirit, the sky, the trees, all vegetation, all animals, all ancestors, and all of those who are coming from the future. Allow yourself to have an altered state of consciousness. Allow yourself to open for the spirits to enter you, for the winter goddess to enter you. Today we are honoring the goddess of the forest, the mother of nature who rules the seasons. We give thanks to the beautiful goddess whose blessings bring new life to the earth. And we offer this gift through our being, through our life, the blood within our body, the air that flows through our body. And we bring blessings now to the world. We bring blessings to those we love. We bring blessings to those we do not love yet. And we grow in our love. And we make a place of peace within our being. And we share that place of peace with all beings. And we use this dark time of year to heal from any past wounds, traumas, worries. And as we heal, we become a blessing. We are a blessing. We become a blessing on this earth for others and for ourselves, for future generations and those in the past. We are demonstrating our ability of humanity to heal. And any desire that you have now, you can manifest it. You can bring it with the new light that is coming in a few days. An increase in the light, an increase of your desires, an increase of possibilities. Also grow in knowledge and bring new innovations into the world and bring new cures with the way that we love one another and the way that we love life. We are the ones. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you.
My dear friends, there's so many people we want to thank. I can't name individuals. Please know your presence has really been a blessing, and heartfelt thanks to you. Before we finish, Sally Jo will talk about something very appealing about the treats out there.
Well, so thank you to those of our members who have baked some home-baked goods or made some treats. Oh,
Yeah. People who have made some treats of our community, and we welcome you to take something that you would like to share at home with your families or with each other. And we have things you can take. We have some plates. If you want to take one helping of something, you can do that. Or there are a couple of complete pies, or there are a couple of cranberry upside down cakes back over there. They're covered up. I'll uncover them if you want. But it's just in the holiday spirit. Normally we would be hanging out and sharing with each other these treats, but we think it's better today if we take them home and enjoy them at home with in our own homes with our families and our friends. And so we welcome you to do that. And if you would like to put a donation for that, you're welcome to. There's a donation basket. And we do appreciate the donations are, as you know, we are getting to the end of our fiscal year here in a couple of weeks, or less than that now. And we're just doing our very best to try to balance the books and make it be a year where we didn't lose any money and maybe didn't make a whole lot, but we made our bill payments, and we kept our beautiful space going, and we kept the heat on and the lights on when we needed it, and we kept the flooding from happening and kept our building safe. We're very grateful for all the work. There was a lot of volunteer work that people did not get paid for doing that wonderful work, especially regarding all the flooding situations and the water situations, which we're still working on, but we're pretty close now. And we do appreciate all the support we've gotten from all of our members throughout this long year, really. And it's been very heartening. And Carol Lindquist, raised, almost $2,000 at her birthday fundraiser in September. And we've been so very grateful for all the people who gave so generously throughout the year to help us stay afloat, literally, and to stay open, so that when I can't help but say, Laurel, Mrs. Winkler, when you were telling your story about once the trees used to be the people, and I'm thinking that in the future, once the viruses thought they were the people, and they said, now we're the people. I mean, I couldn't help thinking that. Who knows who the next people will be? But we are all in praying that we will all, the people, will live together in harmony and will find ways to coexist and be respectful of each other and honor each other and love each other. And thank you for all the beautiful offerings today. It's been a very, very, for me, a very, very moving experience and a very powerful, beautiful, and happy experience, a joyful experience. So thank you all for coming, and please help yourself to some treats on your way out. Thank you.
We want to say this is the first time we have done the streaming. The first time we're doing the streaming. So we really want to thank Michael, Rich Ater, Ezekiel, Karen, all the others who have really helped in making this technology possible at ICS. And Joey for decorating this place also. And all the presenters, Birgit and Phil for really getting us started. I can keep on saying thank you, but thank you everybody. Thank you, bless you. In Bengali there's a verse we say, Mukh mishti korun. Please make your mouth sweet by eating those treats. Oh yeah, please.
I have a request. I love ending services in the past with this song because it's so joyous and raucous. Could we sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing? Could we sing that?
You want to lead us in that? Lead us in that.
Oh, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, glory to the newborn King. And his honor and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With the herald angels sing, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Yay! And my friend, don't forget the treats here. The treats are CDs also. Thank you, my friends. Thank you so much. Blessings.